Hello everyone, my name is Andrew and welcome to Transport Fever. This is the first episode of many that will be coming along on the series, and this series will be coming out every Friday and Tuesdays. So, the next one after today's video will be on Friday, or on Tuesday, okay? So, I already have everything set up, which we can see right here. And just to let you guys know, I am on the testing branch for Transport Fever. So there are some features inside the game that you will not be able to see. So I'm warning you of that right now. So I do have a few mods enabled, as you can tell, mods are active. So basically I have a few of the smaller mods that honestly don't come into effect for like a few games. Like, I honestly love using the bigger train stations mod because that is a lifesaver, because you can just change the station lengths in increments of 40 instead of increments of like 80, so it makes it so much easier. Plus you can have a longer station platform. The longest station platform you're allowed to have with a default station is 360. Okay, 360 meters. With this, the longest station platform is 100 meters. And then default train stations are only allowed to have up to 8 tracks. While this mod makes it so that way they can have, I believe, 48 tracks. Yeah, 48 tracks. So that's good. I do have a few like decorative ones. I got the Clank Sound Fix mod because I mostly use that just so that way we can hear like the trains actually switching over to a different track. So like if you go from one track to another, you can actually hear the sound effects of the cars and the train actually going through that crossover. Then we have the concrete fly junction. I just have that there for safe purposes, just purposes for later on in the series. Curved train stations, yeah, that's self-explanatory. This is a diesel and electric miniature. Bleh, I'm forgetting the words. Miniature multiple unit. So there's that. Got an elevated train station, a tram, more decorative type stuff, some mods. This mod right here is a part of the futuristic modding contest. So I'm just using it because of the fact that it's not available till 2050. So there's that. There's also this right here that I'm going to be using. It's a retaining wall station, but that's not going to come into effect for some time. Basically, it allows you to build a station inside of trenches. So there's that. Okay, and all these are just self-explanatory, so I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through them until I get to the last one, which is right there. And we're going to be using the European set, or I should say European setting. So there's that. And I do have experimental map sizes on, but I'm not going to be going with the large, huge, or megalithonic, just because of the fact that it is honestly too ginormous for me, and the game hardly can run it. Okay? So we're going to be starting in the year 1900 on a medium-sized map. Flat. Hopefully it is mostly flat. Difficulty is easy for now. More likely in the next series will possibly be something like medium or hard. But I did randomize this before I started recording, but yeah, that's a good one. Now I will catch you guys when we are in game, because the game can take a little bit while just to load. Okay, so I'll catch you guys once when we're in the actual game. Okay, guys, welcome back. So I just loaded up, And here's what we got. Let me go and quickly show you guys the towns that we got. So we got Alston, we got and forgive me if I'm pronouncing any of these wrong. We got Alston, Amersham, okay, Darlydale, Dorchester, Ferndown, Hartlepool, Presall, Rugby, which we are actually here at Rugby right now, Stafford Walden, Silsden, okay, Southgate, Thornbury, Tooting and Ealing, and Wadhurst. Wadhurst is actually the most populated city, but I took a look at it and it's actually at the corner of the map, so I'd rather go for a city that's in a more centralized location. So, why did I decide to do Let's Play on Transport Fever? For one, it's one of my favorite games that I've ever played, besides like City Skylines or any of those other games that are management based. Okay? Now, right now, I'm getting somewhere about 30 to 60 frames. On a large or even larger map, it can get down to about 20 frames, maybe lower. So I decided to go with a medium-sized map just because of frame rate. Okay? Okay, sometimes I will drop down to 20, but most of the time, I will be at about 30 to 60 frames. So, what are we going to get started with first? Now, there are multiple things that we can do. There's multiple production chains we can go ahead and take care of. But what I want to do first is get a passenger route started. And I think that the best passenger route to do, let me just go and turn on the city names here, is a passenger route from Rugby to Southgate. Pretty easy route. Now, I was initially thinking about doing railroad, but since we are in the year 1900, and let me go ahead and show you real quick. If we take a look inside of the depot, and I'm going to place just a cheeky one. If we take a look inside this depot, the fastest thing we got is the PLM 220. That one can go a little over a million. That one's a little over a million just to buy. Okay, and I know for a fact that there is another train that is on its way here pretty shortly. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and delete the station, delete that, yes. And that's one of the features inside this, inside the testing branch that not many people get right now, just because of the fact that it's kind of hard to actually get. So, one thing that I always like to mention, or like to look at inside of any of the cities that I play, is where's the commercial? Because if you're transporting people from commercial to commercial, you are going to be more profitable. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overlays. Here's some of the overlays we can look. This one is telling you about the traffic, or street traffic. That one's telling you about track speed. We don't have any tracks, so that's not going to come into effect. Navigatable waters, that's for boats, and it's a majority of the water. And then this is what we want. This is just topography and the contour lines. We don't need to worry about that. This is what we want, land use. So I kind of thought that the commercial was right here, so I'm going to do a stop right here and a stop over here. And what that's going to do, we're going to create a bus route that goes, it doesn't matter which way you do it. So from Southgate to Rugby. So that's not too bad. Let me go ahead and turn off the overhead display. Now, what buses are we going to put on there? Now there are multiple options for us. At the start, most people would put horse-drawn cars, horse-drawn carriages. Okay, a stagecoach, which is not too bad. But I always go for the fastest and greatest model, which is the Landauer. And it can carry 6 people in comparison to 4. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna do just 4 to start off because honestly, the game's not gonna really notice the demand up until like up until people inside the town go like, oh, there's a route that I can use to get to another town. Let me go take that route. So that's the first route that I want to get started. Now immediately you will see that the game is going to get laggy. Now that's not because of the fact that we have carriages all running about. That's because of the fact that we can see just about everything. And what I just did right there is I turned off the ability to see how much things will actually cost. So there's that. So what next? Maybe what I'm thinking is a fuel line. So we would take oil or crude oil from this oil well over to this oil refiner, and then we would ship it into town. I believe that's Southgate, because it's closer to Southgate, I guess. So what's the topography like there? Oh yeah, we have a massive mountain right there. Great. So what I'm gonna do, and sorry if the frame rate is definitely a little bit laggy. As I said, the higher the maps, or the bigger the map size, the more intensive it's gonna be for frame rate. Okay. So I'm just gonna simply draw a road along here, and there are some other features inside the roads menu that's not available in game as of yet. There is still yet to be any discussion about whether or not the game is, not necessarily the game is difficult, but more so the game is ready for the actual public. People that request testing branch, which I was one of those people that did, automatically got it just because of the fact that they wanted to have people test it out. And if you do have the game copy, and of course you don't have one that's pirated, then yes, you can go on the testing branch. But if you are, if you have a pirated version, you won't get a testing branch. Just because of the fact that it's through the developers themselves and through Steam, so it's not gonna happen like that. Okay, there we go. We have a small winding riverside road that goes from the oil well over to here. So let's go and get some truck stations open, or up and running. Okay. So boom. Boom. Now, as far as the drop-off are concerned, so an oil refinery can either make oil or fuel. So what we would end up doing is transporting that to both sides. Now, fuel is consumed by industrial. If you take a look, our stop right here covers basically all the industrial. It only misses out on 2 areas. So what I'm gonna do, just to see if this works, of course nothing. Oh well. So there's that. I'm not gonna try and attempt to do anything wrong with that, but yeah. So if we look right here, this is one feature that is not inside the game that is inside the testing branch right now, and the ability to see what lines are dedicated to that stop. So there's that. Also, sorry again for the laggy frame rate. This game is very intensive on the graphics and on the CPU, so I definitely need to wait for my upgrade. So I'm gonna call this Rugby Crude Oil. And also, sorry if you guys can hear in the background of me actually speaking, me actually typing. So that's Rugby Crude Oil. And then we're gonna get two separate lines created here. One that goes over to Southgate. Okay. And then one that goes over to Rugby. There we go. So this is going to be Rugby, Fuel, and this one's going to be Southgate Fuel. I always like naming my my routes just because of the fact that it gets once when you get going and you have like at least 4 or 5 different routes in each one of your towns, it's gonna become chaotic. So right now the best thing that we can get is the DMG Kanstan. Now this is one thing that is different from the actual game itself in the testing branch, the ability to see what each one of these things actually are. So you can see what is fuel, what is oil, what is crude oil, what is livestock, what is grain, what is planks, what is slag, everything, okay? And some vehicles, I'm not sure about like road vehicles, but some vehicles will be limited to only a few different types of cargo. So like for instance, there are some vehicles that will only be able to ship like grain, iron ore, coal, stone, slag, and like I'm not sure what else, but I think logs. I'm not too sure, but no, logs is something else. But yeah, there's that. So we're gonna go with the DMG Kanstan. We're gonna put 4 on the crude oil line, and then we're gonna put 4 on the Southgate fuel line, and then 4 more on the Rugby fuel line. Now, one thing about these vehicles, they will be slowed down because of the fact that we have a bus that's literally right in front of them, and the land hours only go 20 kilometers per hour, as for say the DMG Grants 25 kilometers per hour. So that's a slight difference there. Now, the reason that I'm using kilometers per hour is because in Europe, most of Europe, I should say, is kilometers per hour. And frankly, I don't mind using kilometers per hour, even though I'm an American and I have to use miles per hour. But still, that's what I prefer using, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to go and speed up time here a bit. And you're gonna see them all rushing on down here. So, from what we can tell, it is actually doing well, and the crude oil is being produced. Good. We got 6 already waiting, so that's enough for 1 carriage. And I would definitely want to have these spaced out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over to the Rugby crude oil, and I'm gonna click right here, load if available, and I'm gonna change that to Oh, that's the load, full load any. And in Southgate, I'm gonna just say unload. That's just what we're gonna do. And Rugby fuel, unload. Southgate fuel, only unload. Okay, so there's that. Pretty good amount, right? Not quite. Now, we are approaching the end of our first year. Now, the end of our first year will always have some sort of debt repayment. So, in order for us to negate that debt repayment, I'm going to repay our loan by about 4 million. Just so that way we're not trying to invest in too much. Now, most likely during the transition from this video to the next video, I will have already... you guys already have full loads? Yes, awesome. Then, yeah. So most likely what I'm going to do from this episode to next episode, I'm going to cut out the time amount for me waiting. Because waiting in this game can take a long time. As you possibly noticed when I was showing you guys all my mods, I was using the 2 times slower mod, which, oh, okay, we got a new tram. Now, I think I can run a tram line around Southgate. So that's what I'm going to do. So, let's go and do this. Oh, and I think that's one feature between... that's right. There are some features that are different inside of this game or this version of the game than it is that it's supposed to be. Okay. And sorry if I'm being very silent in this LP so far, mostly for the fact that a lot of it is just concentrating on the actual game. So I want to make sure that I'm concentrating to the best of my ability. In fact, what I'm going to do... So, one thing that is new with in the testing branch is the ability to add waypoints. So you can basically add waypoints to the side of roads, and it allows your vehicles to know, hey, this part of the road you're supposed to go down, not the other part. Okay? So let me go ahead and create 3 lines here, because I like, when I do my tram lines, I like to do it this way. I like to have one tram line that goes around here, and like that. So as you can automatically tell, well, let me actually put that stop before that one. As you can automatically tell, right here, it's wanting to go down that road. Even though it's tram, it's going to go down this way. But just to make sure that it does, or it does what we want it to do, I'm going to add a waypoint right there. After Albert Road, which is the road that we have last, it will go to that waypoint. So there's that. And that's my first tram route. Next route. That's pretty good. I don't need to add a waypoint there. Okay, go from London Road to Albert Road to Green Lane, then to the Grove. Ooh, and apparently the pink line is thinking of something different. So with London Road, you should be at Terminal 2. There you go. that in. There you go. And I'm gonna make sure that all these are locked in just because I don't want any of them to change up on me at any given point. So there's that. And I'm gonna make sure all these are frickin' correct. There we go. Those are our tram routes. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna call these Southgate Tram 1, Southgate Tram 2. Southgate Tram, not Tram 2. Southgate, not Sifgate. Okay, there we go. And let's go and get a tram depot in there. So, where should we put the tram depot? It's kind of a tough call at this point, but I'm thinking we try to put it somewhere centralized. I'm thinking right over here, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, we did demolish a few buildings there, but that's no problem. So these trams can go 40 kilometers per hour. The Hail tram goes 27, while the Steam tram goes only 20. I'm gonna go with this, mostly for the fact that it's the fastest thing that we got. So I'm gonna put 2 on the inner lines and then 3 on the outer line. Okay, so I'm gonna pause real quick. 2 on Southgate Tram 1. 2 on Southgate Tram 2, and then 3 on Southgate Tram 3. I wonder why. I think I know why. Southgate Tram 3 is misspelled slightly. Instead of a T, it was a G. So there we go. Even if we were to eliminate one of the trams, it would still be good. And each one of these trams can hold 11 people. So, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Let's go and let it roll. And they're gonna go and get on started. Since the interval time for this line is very, very low, it's gonna the game is gonna automatically see that, and it's gonna go like, oh, okay, so we have some services that will take passengers around the city. Now, I can already tell you which line is gonna get the most passengers. The red line, which is Tram 3. Mostly for the fact that 1, it has the most amount of capacity on it, and for 2, it covers the greatest distance. And this is the train that I was talking about. When I showed you guys inside the train depot what is actually going to be coming, this is what I was talking about. The A3/3-5. So, for this yellow line, which we have named line 1, it is making us a profit so far. Because we have a few people waiting over here. 22. Not bad. And then we have how many people waiting over here? We have 10 for the Southgate line. And, as I have already predicted, Tram 3 is already going to be getting the most amount of passengers. Okay. Now, trams can become easy to make a profit on, but the only way they cannot make a profit is if you set it up incorrectly. This I would call an optimal setup. When I mean optimal setup, that means that both the route and the amount of trams that are on that route are equal to what passenger demand is. So if you have literally 0 passenger demand, put at least 2 vehicles on there, okay? If you put more than that, then that means the game's gonna recognize that you basically playing games and you're like, okay, you're overpopulating this line. We don't want that. We just want you to just find a line that is best suited. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be changing it up. I'm going to be putting some passenger route in. Now this is what I was talking about with the bigger stations mod. So you can see here that we got a number of tracks up to 8. Right here is the number of additional tracks up over 8. So like for instance, I can go to 48. But, of course, it is ginormous. Now I'm not going to waste the money just to build this because that's the length of the station. If you did 48 platforms. Okay? That's crazy to me. So I'm just gonna cut that down by a lot. So I'm gonna cut it down to only 2 platforms, 120 length. I like to go with 120 length just because of the fact that a lot more vehicles are at 120 meters than they are at any other lengths of meters. Right here I'm just trying to check to make sure I am getting the best position for my train station. And the reason that I'm positioning this like right next to a tram stop is just so that way once when people get off a train, they can immediately take a tram over to like somewhere else in the city. And then train, also vice versa. Okay, so there's the station. Now where should I build over here? Pretty easy question, right? I'm thinking somewhere over here. Now the reason that I'm putting 2 platforms in is because later on we'll be upgrading these stations to have catenary, to have high speed, to have even multiple more tracks. But what I would recommend for starting out, have 2 platforms. Just so that way you can automatically just tell the game, I want this train to come to this platform. So one thing that, if you have ever played the game Train Fever, one thing that is different is that now you can snap your trains to the road. Makes it so much easier just to lay. Okay. That seems good. I want something a little bit smoother. That's better. 105, that's what I like to see. Oh, not really, but you get my point. Okay, just right there. Oh shit. Coming around the opposite end of what I wanted to. Can I get at that point? Yes, I can. Okay. I'm gonna go with a stone bridge. Yeah. So here's going to be where it gets a very sharp corner. 45. Yeah, that's not too bad. I've seen worse. In fact... And also, sorry if I'm being very quiet in this game right now. It can get very distracting once when you're commentating. So, I like to stay quiet at sometimes inside the game, just so that way you guys can either listen to music or something else. Now this is one thing that I like to fix whenever I make bridges. And that's the smooth turnout. It's because I don't like the sudden pickup. I think you guys can tell why. So there's that. So what are we gonna do? Well, obviously, we're gonna run a train. What type of train, you may ask? How about a modern and fast train? Does it still have that angle? Yeah, but it's not as bad. Okay. So I'm going to put our depot in over here, and I'm going to use one of these depots, just because I kind of like these ones, or this look a little bit better. 91k. I don't like using that one early on in the game, just because it's not too realistic. But 91k for a depot, I can afford that. Okay, these are 2.47 million, and you can tell why. They can go 40 kilometers faster than the PLM. Yeah. PLM is a little over 1 million. These are a little over 2.4. Or a little under 2.5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to borrow part of our loan. I'm going to go down to 1 times speed here. Part of our loan to go to 9 million in loan. I'm going to get just 1 train. That's all I need. And I'm going to get these 3 axle cars, which are 500,000 each. And I'm going to get just 4 of them. And just so that way I have a little bit of leeway money, I'm going to get another 1 million out of the bank. New line. Going from here, Southgate, over to Whitby. And there we go. There goes our train. It's going immediately out of the depot. So what we're going to do as far as the land hours are concerned, because those guys are slowing down our... no, I don't want freaking passenger on that. I don't want the passengers. There we go. I want the vehicle. Thank you. Give me the line details. So, what I'm gonna end up doing is, once when this guy drops off its passengers, how many passengers do we got waiting here? We got 33 waiting for line 1. Well, you guys are gonna have to change your mind about that because you guys will have to use the train to get over to Rugby. Sorry. How many passengers do we even have waiting here? Not many, just for the Rugby line. I definitely want to send this vehicle to the depot and be sold as soon as possible. So as soon as it drops off. There we go. That's on its way to London Road. That's on its way to London Road, and that's on its way to London Road. Okay. Now the question is, where are you guys at? Yeah, that's one of the buses right there. Yeah, that's bus 1. Yep. Bus 3, I'm just gonna send you to the depot. I don't really care about the passengers that are on you. And that's bus 2? Yeah. You just go to the depot. I want to get this this bus across quickly. Because I want to go ahead and delete line 1 so that way passengers use the train instead of the bus. Okay. And 1 time speed. Sorry passengers, but this line is going to be going out of service. Thank you very much. Now, I think, yes, we are approaching our 40-minute mark, ladies and gentlemen. So I am going to leave off the video there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please go ahead and consider giving it a comment, give it a like, do any of that fun stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. See you later, guys. Bye.